Many people don't realize that our own body often becomes the place where we feel the most stuck. This resistance we feel isn't always just in our thoughts or fears. It often settles into the very parts of our body that are meant to carry us forward. But there is a very simple and ancient way to reconnect with ourselves, the practice of mindful attention. When you bring focused, gentle attention to specific parts of your body, you aren't just relaxing, you're creating a space for inner quiet. And in that quiet space, the feeling of being stuck simply begins to dissolve. Today, I want to share 7 areas of the body where we can practice this gentle attention so you can walk with a sense of balance, not resistance. The first place these inner disturbances try to settle is the mind. This makes sense. Your mind isn't just a place for thoughts, it's the seat of your awareness. If your inner world is cluttered with worry, it will shape how you see yourself, how you move through your day, and ultimately the choices you make. Think about it. Every fear that has held you back, every doubt that has stopped you from starting something new, every cycle of confusion that left you feeling lost. Where did it all begin? It started in the mind, a feeling that became a thought. That's why bringing gentle attention to the head is not a strange ritual. It is an act of reclaiming your own inner space. When you take a moment to simply feel the presence of your own head, to feel the space around it, you are quietly declaring, "My mind is a space for clarity, not for clutter." The moment you bring awareness to your head, you begin to separate your own quiet wisdom from the noise of overthinking. You are allowing your own clarity to surface, because this inner resistance doesn't always show up as a loud storm. It often creeps in quietly. It shows up as constant overthinking, or sudden waves of heaviness, or quiet whispers of self-doubt that you can't explain. How many times have you woken up with a tense feeling in your head, as if an unseen pressure was there? That is not just being tired. It is often a sign of deep inner turmoil. Bringing this attention to the head is like gently tidying the entryway to a home. You are not only creating a shield against further clutter, you are inviting in clarity, focus, and a sense of centeredness. When this moment of attention is done with intention, it becomes a buffer against confusion. And what happens next is interesting. What once looked complicated begins to feel simple. What once felt impossible begins to feel approachable, because clarity is a kind of quiet strength. A person who sees their own inner state clearly cannot be so easily swayed by external chaos. But a clouded mind is like an open door for disturbance. Think about how many lives have been unsettled simply because their thoughts were filled with echoes of the past. Someone told them they were not capable, and they held on to that thought. Someone shared a fear, and that fear took root in their own mind. Someone spoke a harsh word, and it paralyzed their forward momentum. Inner resistance knows that the body will often follow the mind. That's where our decisions are made. This is why this simple practice of attention must become a gentle discipline, a quiet act of self-care. Every time you feel that weight of confusion, every time your mind feels restless, every time fear starts to take over, bring your attention to your head and gently remind yourself that no thought born of unease needs to take root in your inner world. The head also represents something deeper, our sense of direction. In many cultures, leaders were honored with rituals focused on the head because it represents guidance and purpose. Inner turmoil tries to steal this sense of direction. It makes you feel like you are being pulled in every direction when you were meant to have a clear path. When you practice this mindful touch, you are restoring that inner compass, saying to yourself, "I am not a slave to my own confusion. I am not held captive by old stories. I walk with my own sense of purpose." That gentle touch becomes a visible reminder of your unseen steadiness. It is a tool, but it is also a quiet statement. Think about how inner restlessness can surface during sleep. Strange dreams, uneasy feelings, waking with a tension in your head. These aren't random. They are signs of an unsettled mind. But when the mind is allowed to quiet itself before rest, even sleep becomes a place of peace. Your rest feels deeper. Your sense of calm is restored. A simple touch becomes a kind of gentle boundary that unease cannot easily cross. We often look for complicated solutions, but the truth is often very simple. Inner turmoil thrives when you forget who you are. When you neglect the simple power of your own awareness, bringing attention to a part of your body is not just a physical act. It is an act of intention. It is clarity. It is care. By mindfully tending to your head, you are setting a boundary that no cycle of worry, no old story, no pattern of confusion can easily enter. And once the mind finds its quiet center, everything else in the body begins to follow. Your thoughts become clearer. Your vision sharpens. Your decisions feel more grounded. A clear head is a powerful tool against inner resistance. A mind at peace cannot be pulled into chaos. That is why the first place to bring your gentle attention is always the head. Because when the mind is steady, our path is protected. Our eyes are one of the greatest doorways to our inner world. What you allow yourself to see doesn't just stay on the surface. It sinks deeply into your heart and your mind. Inner confusion knows this, which is why it often tries to distort your vision of things. Because if your perception can be clouded, your path can be diverted. If what you see is colored by fear, then your reality will feel fearful. This is why a moment of gentle attention to the eyes is not a small act at all. It is a statement. It says, I choose to see with clarity. My focus will remain steady. My eyes will see what is truly here. Many times, people underestimate the power of their eyes. But think about it this way. Almost everything you understand about the world first comes through your sight. You see a path forward. You see a potential difficulty. You see kindness. You see warning signs. But what happens when your eyes are no longer able to recognize truth from illusion? Patterns of resistance take advantage of this. They create illusions. They offer distractions. They present false appearances. Suddenly, a relationship that drains you looks like comfort. A habit that limits you feels like freedom. This is the nature of a clouded inner vision. It convinces you that you are walking toward the light when you are actually walking deeper into a pattern. That is why bringing gentle, mindful attention to your eyes carries so much weight. The moment your awareness touches your eyes, you are asking for more than just physical sight. You are inviting discernment. You are asking for the ability to see beyond the surface, beyond what things seem to be, beyond the masks people sometimes wear. Because inner turmoil often hides in plain sight. It will use familiar situations, close relationships, or even seemingly harmless choices. But clear eyes do not fall for illusions. Clear eyes see the truth, no matter how well it is hidden. Some people walk through life seemingly blind to the patterns they repeat. They wonder why they keep making the same choices, why they keep attracting the same situations, why they keep following paths that lead nowhere. The answer is quite simple. Their perception has been influenced by past experiences. They cannot see clearly. Their eyes, the very gateways to their spirit, have been clouded by old stories. If this feeling resonates with you, I invite you to subscribe and join our community. Together, we explore these simple ways to find our own clarity. The moment you bring attention to your eyes, the fog begins to lift. Suddenly, your discernment awakens. You start to notice the small signs you once ignored. You begin to feel the difference between what nourishes you and what depletes you. Your path becomes clearer because you are no longer deceived by your own projections. Our eyes are also deeply connected to our desires. What you look at consistently begins to shape what you want, and what you want shapes who you become. These patterns of habit know this and will try to place tempting distractions before you, leading your spirit away from its true path. This is why people can find themselves drawn to things that weaken them, unable to look away from what is not helpful. Mindfully attending to the eyes helps to break this chain. It brings awareness to your gaze. It helps you see that you no longer need to chase shadows. You can choose to seek what strengthens you, not what depletes you. Think also about how many disturbances come during rest, through images and dreams. The eyes are not just for the physical world. They are the windows to your inner landscape. Anxieties often send uneasy dreams or disturbing images to plant fear and weaken your sense of calm. But when your eyes are allowed to rest with intention, even your inner vision is sealed in peace. You begin to rest more deeply. You see things with more clarity in your waking life. Fear loses its grip because your vision is guarded by your own awareness. This simple act also restores your focus. In a world full of endless distractions, the greatest trick of our own busy minds is to scatter our attention. It keeps you so busy looking in 100 different directions that you forget your true destination. But when your gaze is consecrated by awareness, it becomes steady. You no longer waste your life force chasing what doesn't matter. Your vision stays fixed on what is essential, on what is true, on what is meant for your path. This is why your eyes must never be left unguarded. Because once your clarity is lost, everything else can eventually follow. If you cannot see clearly, you cannot walk clearly. But when your eyes are filled with your own mindful presence, inner confusion loses one of its strongest weapons, deception. The attention you place on your eyes becomes more than a shield. It becomes a lantern. It lights your path. It exposes hidden patterns. It reveals the truth behind illusions, and it keeps you aligned with your own purpose. To see clearly is to live with quiet power. And no inner darkness can control a life that walks in the light of its own truth. The ears are one of the most underrated gateways to our inner selves, yet they hold incredible influence over our spirit. What you allow yourself to hear shapes what you believe. And what you believe, of course, shapes how you live. Inner resistance knows this. That's why it often works through sound, through words, through the quiet whispers of your own inner critic. It may not always come as a major event. Often, it comes as a piece of gossip someone whispered. A harsh word repeated in your own mind until you believe it. Limiting beliefs spoken by others that you took on as your own. If your ears are not guarded by awareness, the poison of these words can take root. Before long, it begins to bear fruit in your life. When you bring gentle attention to your ears, you are quietly declaring that no destructive sound will be allowed to build a home inside you. You are cleansing the very portal through which influence enters. Because negative influence is not always obvious. It can sneak in slowly, shaping your thoughts one sentence at a time. Think about how much of your life has been shaped not by what you saw, but by what you heard. Perhaps someone told you that you were not good enough, and you carried that story for years. Someone spoke about failure around you, and you replayed their words until they felt like your own. Words are like seeds. The ears are the soil where they are planted. That's why this practice of mindful attention is so important. It purifies the ground, refusing to let toxic seeds grow. Inner turmoil can even use sound in ways you may not recognize. A sudden, anxious thought that feels like a voice, whispers of doubt in the quiet of the night. These are not just accidents. They are disturbances from within, trying to plant fear through your sense of hearing. But once a gentle awareness has been brought to your ears, these sounds lose their power. You no longer hear them as commands. You recognize them as just passing noise. Your ears become tuned to clarity, to your own inner guidance, instead of to old patterns of thinking. Our ears are also connected to what we follow. It's quite simple. What you hear most often is what you will likely follow. If your ears are filled with the sound of fear from news and conversations, you will follow fear. If your ears are filled with discouraging words, you will follow the path of defeat. Our inner turmoil tries to make sure that the loudest voice in our life is always the one pulling us away from our own purpose. It fills our space with noise, with constant chatter that keeps us from recognizing the still, quiet guidance within. But when your ears are tended to with mindfulness, you regain your ability to choose what you listen to. The outer noise fades. The inner lies lose their volume. Suddenly, the quiet truth inside becomes louder. You begin to hear what strengthens you, what aligns you, what calls you forward. Just consider how much of modern life is designed to capture your hearing. Music, conversations, podcasts, videos. Sound is everywhere, and it is constantly influencing us. But not all sound is harmless. Some sound carries agitation, some carries anger, some carries a feeling of emptiness. And when you let these things constantly enter your ears, they begin to shape your inner atmosphere. Your own unease knows this and uses it cleverly. If your spirit is filled with negative sound, your life will begin to echo that negativity. But mindful ears change that. They learn to filter, they discern, they know when to listen and when to simply let sounds pass by. They no longer accept everything blindly. They accept only what builds, only what strengthens. Bringing attention to your ears also awakens a subtle sensitivity. It allows you to hear not just the noise of the world, but the quiet truths that often go unnoticed. It makes you more aware of the subtle intentions behind words. With mindful ears, you can sense the difference between true encouragement and subtle manipulation. You stop being an easy target for distraction because your hearing is no longer unprotected. And there is another layer to this. The ears are tied to memory. So much of what you carry today is not just what you see, but what you once heard. The harsh words from the past can still echo in your mind. Anxious patterns will use these echoes to disturb you, replaying old wounds until you feel trapped by them. But when you anoint your ears with awareness, you silence those echoes. Your attention becomes a seal, closing the door on destructive words, refusing to let them replay endlessly. You begin to remember differently. Instead of old wounds, you start to hear new strength. Instead of limitations, you hear possibilities. Do not underestimate this simple act, because once your ears are guided by awareness, you are no longer a prisoner of sound. You decide what enters. You decide what grows. You decide which voice will lead you. And when your ears are tuned to your own quiet truth, deception has no power. Inner resistance cannot command a life that refuses to listen to its lies. This is why the ears must be tended to, because what you hear, you often become. Once your hearing is guarded, your path becomes guided. I am my own peace. Go ahead and write that in the comments below to declare your own intention. My own peace. Your hands carry more power than you might realize. They aren't just tools for work. They are the symbols of your action and your creativity in the world. Everything you build, everything you hold, everything you let go of, it all flows through your hands. Inner resistance understands this. So, it often seeks to create difficulty in the work of your hands. This can cause frustration, a feeling of being stuck, and even loss in areas where your effort should bring progress. You may notice times where you work so hard, yet nothing seems to move forward. You plant seeds, but the harvest never comes. You try again and again, but your path feels blocked. This is not always just external resistance. Many times, it is an unseen inner pattern, trying to bind the energy of your own hands so that nothing you do feels fruitful. When you bring gentle attention to your hands, you are declaring that everything you touch will be touched with care, everything you build will be steady, and everything you release will be let go with peace. The act itself is simple, but its inner meaning is profound. Your hands are a gateway of influence. They connect your inner state with the external world. If the energy in your hands feels heavy or blocked, your life feels blocked. But if your hands are tended to with awareness, no feeling of being stuck can remain attached to your labor. Your work begins to flow. Your efforts begin to create ripples. The results of your actions become clear. Think for a moment about how this feeling of being stuck operates. It doesn't need to physically tie you up. It only needs to weaken the energy of your hands. Suddenly, resources slip away faster than you can hold them. Opportunities pass through your fingers as if they were never meant for you. Relationships feel strained, no matter how much you try to hold them together. This is the silent work of inner resistance, making sure that nothing you touch feels solid. But once you take a moment to place your awareness on your own palms, you are breaking that chain. You are consecrating your own ability to hold, to build, to create. You are saying, these hands were made for mindful action, not for struggle. The hands are also tightly connected to giving and receiving. Our inner patterns of lack know this and will often interfere with the balance in these areas. Some people give and give, but never seem to be open to receiving in return. Others find it easy to receive, but their hands are so bound by fear that they never learn true generosity. When this flow of giving and receiving is broken, life can feel empty and unbalanced. Bringing attention to your hands helps restore this balance. It opens your palms to receive blessings without obstruction and to release your gifts without fear. Your hands stop being channels of loss and become channels of flow. Consider how many sacred acts involve the hands. Healing is often transmitted through touch. Comfort is given through a gentle hand. Agreements were once sealed with a handshake. The source of our inner turmoil knows this power, so it tries to make the hands feel heavy, restless, or tense. But when you mindfully attend to them, you restore their natural state. You cleanse the gateway. You ensure that what flows from your hands brings life, not more struggle. Mindful hands carry peace. They carry strength. They carry an unseen stillness that no resistance can overcome. There are even deeper layers to this truth. The hands represent your craft, your skills, your unique talents. Inner doubt tries to cover these up, to make you question your own worth, to make you hide your talents or let them go to waste. That is why so many gifted people never step into their full potential. The energy in their hands felt tied before they even began. But mindful attention to the hands breaks this silence. It awakens creativity. It sharpens skill. It restores confidence. Suddenly, you may find yourself able to do what you once thought was impossible. Your work begins to flow again. Your unique gifts begin to open doors for you. Because mindful hands cannot remain hidden. They create with quiet confidence wherever they go. Think about this carefully. Every time you move your hands, you are signaling something. Hands open in acceptance. Hands reaching out in service. Inner struggle tries to make sure your hands are always clenched in fear or limp in weariness. But this gentle attention changes your posture. It transforms weakness into strength, emptiness into fullness. Your hands become instruments of light, no longer bound, no longer empty, no longer weak. And remember, the hands are deeply tied to what we pass on. If the energy of your hands is blocked, what you can offer the world is blocked. But if your hands are flowing with mindful energy, your gifts will outlive you. They pass through your work. They strengthen those who come after you. That is why this simple act is so powerful, not just for you, but for everything and everyone you touch. When your hands are filled with your own presence, no inner resistance can stop your work. No feeling of being stuck can block your blessings. Everything you touch can be transformed. The feet are one of the most significant, yet often forgotten parts of the body in these inner journeys. They carry you into your future. They walk you toward opportunities. They lead you along the path of your life. If your own inner resistance can hinder your steps, it can delay your purpose. This is why our unresolved patterns so often target the feet. You may feel a physical heaviness for no reason, as if something invisible is holding you back. You might notice that whenever you begin to move forward in life, obstacles suddenly appear. Doors that were open seem to close. Paths that once looked clear become confusing. These are not always just coincidences. Many times, it is a sign of an inner resistance against your own movement. It's an attempt to make sure you never arrive where you are meant to be. When you bring gentle attention to your feet, you are declaring that no inner force can hold back your journey. You are consecrating your path. You are blessing every step. You are aligning your walk with your purpose. Every moment of awareness that touches your feet becomes a seal of intention. It's a spiritual boundary that resistance cannot cross. It means that wherever you walk, the ground beneath you is claimed for your purpose. It means no old pattern of delay, no chain of feeling stuck, no trap of misdirection can bind you. Because when your feet are tended to, your journey is protected. Think for a moment about how this inner stagnation works. Its goal is not always to stop you completely. Sometimes it just wants to slow you down. It wants to make sure that a journey that should take 1 year takes 10 years instead. It fills your path with detours. It leads you in circles. It wastes your precious time until you lose your strength and motivation. This is why so many people feel like they are always busy, but never truly arriving. They are walking, yet their progress is blocked. But once you bring mindful attention to your feet, these delays are broken. The invisible weights fall away. Suddenly, your movement feels smoother. Your progress becomes steadier. Your path begins to open in ways you could not have forced on your own. The feet are also symbolic of your place in the world. In many ancient traditions, whatever ground your feet walked upon was considered claimed. Your inner critic knows this, so it tries to keep your feet from reaching the places where your greatest opportunities are waiting. It fills those paths with fear and confusion so that you turn back before you even arrive. But when you mindfully attend to your feet, you are declaring ownership over the ground of your own life. Every place your feet touch becomes marked with your intention. Every step you take becomes a step of purpose. You no longer wander aimlessly. You walk with intention, knowing that your steps are guided from within. There is also a deep connection between the feet and freedom. When your feet are bound, you are a prisoner of your own habits. Inner patterns work to tie the feet spiritually, making you feel stuck in the same cycles. No matter how much you try, you seem to end up back where you started. You may notice these patterns repeating in your life again and again. It feels like you are running in circles. This is a clear sign of spiritually bound feet. But a simple touch of awareness can break the rope. The moment you bring attention to your feet, you release yourself from those old cycles. The ground beneath you begins to feel more solid. The path ahead begins to straighten. Whatever kept you going in circles no longer has power over you, and you can finally move forward. Think also about how the feet represent stability. A person without firm footing will always stumble. Inner anxiety tries to shake your stability, to make your steps uncertain, to cause you to fall at the very moment you should be standing strong. But mindful feet are steady feet. They are not shaken by sudden storms. They walk firmly, with balance and strength, no matter how rough the terrain becomes. Attention on the feet means you will not stumble where others might fall. The feet also carry a kind of future potential, because they represent journeys not yet taken. Our fears try to close those future paths before we even begin them, placing doubt in our hearts so we never take the first step. But awareness in the feet breaks that fear. It gives you the quiet courage to step into the unknown, to walk into new opportunities. Your steps begin to create new paths, opening ways not just for you, but for those who will follow. And remember, the feet are symbolic of peace. A person who is always restless, always wandering without a clear direction, never finds true peace. This is the state where inner turmoil thrives, but when your feet are mindfully grounded, a sense of peace follows you. You no longer wander, you journey. Every step is filled with meaning. Every direction is aligned with your deeper purpose. When your feet are consecrated with your own awareness, no inner resistance can delay your journey. No old curse can tie your steps. You will walk in strength. You will walk in clarity. You will walk in peace. The heart is the deepest and most sacred space within a human being. It is not only the organ that keeps us alive, but also the seat of our emotions, our intentions, and our spirit. Everything flows from the heart. Your courage, your peace, your capacity for love, your resilience. And because it is the core of who you are, inner turmoil often seeks to disturb it first. If inner patterns can disturb your heart, they can weaken your entire being. You might notice how bitterness grows where love once was, how fear replaces confidence, how anger rises quickly and consumes your peace. These are not just random emotions. They are often signs that the heart has been targeted, that an inner disturbance is trying to poison the well of your spirit. Bringing gentle attention to your heart is one of the most powerful acts of self-care you can perform. When you place your hand over your chest, you are declaring that your emotions, your peace, and your spirit will not be ruled by inner chaos. You are sealing the very center of your being. You are cleansing it from invisible stains and restoring it to purity, because inner turmoil thrives on brokenness. It feeds on old wounds left unhealed. If old patterns can keep your heart heavy, they can make you blind to opportunity, deaf to your own wisdom, and weak in spirit. But when your heart is tended to with awareness, no bitterness can take root. No fear can remain for long. No old story can live there. Think about how the heart is tied to love. Inner turmoil loves to attack our capacity for love, because love is the greatest strength. It creates division in relationships, mistrust between friends, and pain among family. It whispers lies into the heart, making you question who you are, making you feel unworthy of connection. Slowly, it builds walls around you, isolating you until you feel empty. But a mindful heart does not fall for this trap. Attention on the heart softens these walls. It helps to heal old wounds. It restores our ability to give and receive love in a balanced way. Suddenly, relationships can begin to feel lighter. Forgiveness becomes possible, and the heavy chains of mistrust break away. The heart is also the center of our courage. Many people fail not because they lack opportunities, but because fear paralyzes their heart. Inner resistance knows this and often plants seeds of fear deep inside. It convinces you that you cannot succeed, that you are too weak, that danger is waiting around every corner. And once fear lives in the heart, it spreads everywhere, into the mind, into the body, into every action. But placing a hand on your heart can help to dissolve that fear. It ignites courage where doubt once lived. It makes you feel strong again, steady again, brave again. You can begin to face what once terrified you, and you realize that the fear was often just a story. And think of how the heart is tied to peace. Without a sense of peace, life becomes chaos. Without peace, even blessings can feel heavy. Our inner restlessness specializes in stealing our peace. It fills the heart with a constant agitation, with unexplainable anxiety, with endless worry. You can have everything in the world, yet still feel like something is profoundly missing. That emptiness is not your natural state. It is a sign of an inner attack on your peace. But a mindful heart overflows with stillness. A gentle hand on the chest restores calm. It balances the emotions and silences the storms within. You may still face challenges in life, but you no longer live in constant inner torment. Peace becomes your anchor. The heart also carries memory. Not just memories of events, but memories of pain. So many of us carry wounds from the past that never fully healed. Inner turmoil knows how to use these wounds. It replays them again and again until the heart is trapped in sorrow. But mindfully attending to the heart helps to close those wounds. It cleanses the hidden pain, releasing what was meant to hold you back and turning it into strength. You stop living as a prisoner of your past and begin living as the master of your present. Another layer is joy. Our inner critic hates joy because joy is strength. So it tries to drain your joy by surrounding you with negativity, by overwhelming you with problems. But joy is not just happiness. It is an inner light. Placing your attention on the heart can reignite this light. It brings back laughter where there was silence, gratitude where there was complaint, hope where there was despair. A joyful heart is untouchable by inner darkness. This is why the heart must be protected at all costs. From it, everything else flows. If your heart is heavy, your steps will be heavy. If your heart is broken, your vision becomes blurred. But when the heart is cared for with mindful attention, everything else in your life begins to heal. That attention becomes a shield and a fire, keeping your emotions balanced, your spirit alive, and your soul at peace. If this practice has been meaningful for you, subscribing is a way to continue this journey, a commitment to your own path of inner clarity and peace. Let us walk it together. When your heart is consecrated with your own loving awareness, no inner turmoil can plant bitterness. No old story can steal your joy. No darkness can rule your emotions. You will live healed. You will live whole.